I used to wonder if my story really mattered. Maybe you felt that too. Like your experience was too messy, too personal, or not far enough along to share. But here's what I've learned. Your story is your superpower. It's not just what you've been through, it's how you got through it. And when you know how to tell that story with purpose, you don't just inspire, you connect, you serve, and you start making the impact you were born to make. That's why I created Becoming a Storyteller and Creating Impact. It's a self-paced course to help you craft your story, speak with confidence, and start using your voice to truly make a difference. Whether you're a new coach, a speaker, or someone who just knows they were meant for more, this is your starting point. It's going to change how you see yourself and your story. Check out the link in the podcast notes and get registered today. Don't wait to make a difference. What if your work didn't just pay the bills, but actually fueled your dreams? Welcome back to part 2 of Angela's journey, and we're going to explore how she turned her skills as a nurse and her passion for helping others into a purpose-driven business that allowed her to leave America and go live in Greece after her daughter asked to go to Greece for her 8th birthday. So if you missed how that all transpired, go back and listen to part 1. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about kind of the actions that were taken by Angela, and then how she is also walking with people, one, and helping them build their business as a virtual assistant, but also coaching people to live a life of possibility and really going after big dreams, because you know what? That's her superpower. She did it so she can help you if that's something that you want to do. So thank you for showing us what's possible. In the end of our conversation in part 1, we were talking about how when we open our mind to possibility, our brain starts to recognize opportunities. And there's a couple things before we jump in and I have you share that I've seen in my own work and in my own journey, and I'm sure you have too, and it's confirmed in neuroscience, but talking about our reticular activating system and why visualization, dream boards, all these things are so powerful is because our brain is actually programmed to confirm our beliefs. So I'll use an example. I was so excited to get my Tesla. I love this color and it's very unique. I don't see that color very often on these cars. And I'm driving out of the Tesla dealership and same car color, same car color, same car color. I'm now programmed that I'm looking for it. And so our mind works the same way with our dreams. If we will put it on a dream board, if we'll talk about it, if we'll just even be open to the possibility of something different, our brain starts working. I remember when I started doing dream boards, my husband and I did one in our first year of marriage, and I just was shocked. Got our boat, did this, did that, and we did some of these things during COVID when I would have never thought, oh, I'm going to be getting a boat. But I had it on my dream board months and months prior to that, right? And so my brain was already looking for an opportunity to fulfill that dream. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how you were saying, you started doing your research and you decided to do a virtual assistant business utilizing the skills you had. So how did you start? I'm a nurse and I'm going to start a virtual assistant business.
So I was on my night shift, had some downtime, was doing my Instagram, trying, the algorithm gives you what you want, like you were saying. And I found someone who was selling an ebook, how to move abroad in 6 months or less. So this was July 4th, and I never buy anything online, again with my nevers. Never number one. I bought someone's ebook, and I said, if I'm actually going to think about making this a reality, I have to take the jump. I have to buy something. I have to learn. I bought an ebook and I started looking on jobs nurses can do remotely, and virtual assisting came up. A program called the Savvy System came on my Facebook feed. And again, if I'm going to learn how to do this, I have to dive in. I bought the program. I going to say the never word again. Never saw myself starting a business. And I have an LLC. The program did a fantastic job of walking me through how to understand this process, how to start this business, and the confidence was just going. Because I had the vision, like, this is going to be me. And one of the statements I use right now is, think of the future as someplace to come from. Because your brain doesn't know any different. Your future is something it makes up. So if you paint the future as someplace you've already been, it just pulls from that vision. So that's how I look at it now. But what I was doing was living in where I'm going and using that to fuel me in my present. So I didn't have an actual board, but I would just say, like, I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to be doing that. And the virtual assisting business helped me learn a lot, and I thought either way, if I'm going to have a nurse coaching business, I'm going to have to learn the business piece of it at its core, which is the same for any business you have. So it was a way to make money sooner while also learning how to propel myself forward. And then I found the Nurse Coach Collective to get my nurse coaching off the ground and the education I needed. And it feels amazing to believe so fully in what I'm telling the people that I coach. Because like you said, I've done it. I can tell you to change your life and it's possible. I did it. I can tell you you can walk away. I've done it. I'm not going to say it's not something that's a day-by-day choice or going to be difficult, but I'm proof that I'm telling you to do something that I believe you can do because I've done it. Well, just like you're saying, it's a beautiful feeling for them to hear about me and just know that I believe in them so wholeheartedly because I believe we all can do this. And what a gift to do with the people that I coach, truly.
You were strategic. Following your dreams isn't just saying you want to do it. It starts there, but if you don't take action, it never moves from just being a dream. That's making you miserable, by the way, right? Because you're being called to something more and you're refusing it. So that's why you're not fulfilled. That's why you're not happy. That's why you're burnt out, because I do a lot of work now because it brings so much joy and fulfillment every day. It doesn't carry the same weight as it did in the past because I was building someone else's dream. I was not doing the soul work that I deeply craved to come alongside of people in. And so, yes, it felt so risky standing there at that point of decision, but it was so worth it. Every day, like you said, is a choice I get to make. It's not the direction someone else is telling me and I have to go do.
Yeah. And just to, be able to work and give from a cup that is so full and do work with other people from a place of, I don't want to say choice because I love being a nurse. I chose to be there every day. I chose to work with those patients. Incredibly grateful for the 11 years, I spent at the bedside. But it's just not to have to worry about management or coworkers or a raise or how much money I make or should I go to this shift? Should I pick up extra hours? Just feeling that melt away and I can just sit in my role and be completely present without feeling like I should be somewhere else or I need to think about the next move or the next this or when can I go home or I miss my kids. What else should I be doing? It's beautiful to have a cup so full that it doesn't, I'm happy. I'm happy to pour from it and I'm happy to give. And I still feel so empowered, when I end my day.
The word that popped into my mind as you were sharing that was abundance. When you're sitting there and you're looking at, could I take on this shift and get paid more? All about money. Which that was my thing too. When I said, I can't leave my job because I make too much money, it was not from my heart. It was from a fear of not having enough, which is the opposite of an abundance mindset. It was a poverty mindset. It was, I have to do this because this is what everyone's told me equals success.
Exactly. And the feeling of it's hard for someone. Yeah, and it's hard because it's supposed to be, and it'll be worth it in 20 years. When your kids get older, then you can go away. And to that point, my husband and I just looked at each other like we don't want to wait till our kids are 18 and then disappear. Like that doesn't feel right either. I don't want to do that to them. I want to be present for those years of their life and present together. So it really, I sat down and I just decided I'm going to try to live a new way. There's a lot of points of contention from, our family, our friends, because it's life-changing. Like, what do you mean you're going to leave?
Right.
Yeah, and we were lucky enough to find a program that will take families with kids and provide a school and activities for adults, activities for the kids, and community support. And like I said, we weren't travelers. We're like, yeah, let's go. But the ability to land softly in some place with an established community and the support and help really helped make it a reality. I did, like you said, put the steps in place to make it as safe and as reasonable, as I could. It's life changing. I have small children.
Yeah.
I want them to feel safe and supported and to actually be in school. But even my 4-year-old, when we got here, probably a couple weeks in, he would say, I love Greece, us spending time together. That's his 4-year-old understanding of just how that life change impacted him. Wasn't going to tell me, like, Mommy, I never see you. Or, Mommy, I wish we spent time together. He didn't know what he was
missing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's worth it 100 times over.
And just think of like what your kids are seeing.
Mm-hmm.
As you've walked this out, they can see what's possible. They'll even go further. And that's what I love about our ability to impact others when we step out of our own comfort zone. It's not just for me that I have been committed to doing this. Now I'm invested in others and showing people what is possible and how they could go about bringing their dreams into reality. If someone wanted to connect with you, how do they work with you? It obviously has to be remote unless they're in Greece.
Yes. I mean, yeah. Grateful for virtual relationships and the ability to connect with people digitally. My business is called Kudzu Collaborations, Kudzu. I chose that word because back in the days of AOL Instant Messenger, I found the word in the dictionary for my screen name, and it's a vine that grows towards the sun and always finds the light. So it has always really inspired me to keep going, back from high school days to even now. So I really love the impact that it can have on coaching and transformation. And, if you just need some help finding the light, and growing. Because it's when we feel stagnant and stuck, like you mentioned, that we feel like we can't. We feel immobile, but that's fine. We'll go and grow. And we're so capable. That's my business. I have a Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome. Do you share about your journey? I would love for people to know what kind of things are you putting on your Instagram? Would it be things that would inspire people to take these kind of calculated risks?
So I probably should talk. Yeah, I should talk about myself more, I guess. It's mostly about how I do what I do business-wise and what that looks like and how it can help and transform others. But I'm getting to a place where this is so inspiring and different and unimaginable, and really come to terms with like, wow, I did this. And just basking even in the moment of, that is over, and here I am. So it's powerful as a statement of like, here I am. Where I wanted to be, future me is present me.
Yes.
So I will be.
Good.
Just
Because
speaking
I
about that
want
more.
to follow
Because
you.
people want to hear it. I know.
They
Get it all the
do.
time.
They do.
Yeah.
And that's why, our stories are so powerful, and how we walk it out is what inspires others and allows them to connect. So definitely start sharing about it, because I want to see pictures of Greece. I think I was telling you in our pre-call when we were chatting about what we're going to talk about, that my husband had a bone marrow transplant a little over 5 years ago, and his donor was from Greece. So in the near future, I'm going to make a trip and I'm going to get to see you, Angela, in person in Greece, and also get to meet his donor. And for me, after going through that with my husband, life really changed too, because you never know if you have until you're retired.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And I had to think, like, is this the life that I would want to leave as my legacy if it ended? And it's like, no. Okay, after his bone marrow transplant, I mean, we went to, I don't even know how many different countries. When you are faced with your more, your mortality. You start to see things differently. So, or you hit a rock bottom and you're like, wait, this is not what I want. I want to encourage you guys, don't wait for that moment. Like I
Yeah.
did the rock bottom. I did the, when my husband had cancer and we didn't know what the future would hold, just do it. Don't wait for the universe to really scream at you because it's whispering and God is telling you there is more out there. You were created for more. Do not believe the lies that are keeping you stuck.
It's always
There's
whispering.
joy.
Always. And like I said, listening to that part in me and just trusting it without the talk of, no, you can't, something, we're not supposed to do that. It's beautiful. It's a feeling that it's hard to describe unless you've actually listened to it and followed a path yourself that you believed in so fully and you weren't sure why. But it just felt right. And we sat together and I said, I want my kids to know they can do hard things. So like you said, if I were to leave this earth before I get to see them grow into, young adults or have families, I want them to know, they can do hard things and that they're capable. And I want to show them, I can do it, they can do it, we can do it. Now I get to help others build that foundation for themselves. That may just be missing. That may be all they're missing. Just that little belief in themselves. Yeah.
Such a gift to yourself, to your family, to those that you come alongside of. And for those who are listening, I just want to encourage you, when you hear that still small voice, stop silencing it because it has such wisdom and it wants to lead you. So often people or ourselves silence it and then we are unable to move forward. But if you will listen, even take one little step, and then what you find out is, I did it. I can take another little step. And then before you know it, like you've strung all these steps together. Angela, how many months of taking steps between July 4th when you downloaded
the ebook
ebook to when you were leaving the country?
We left on December 31st. So I was just shy of that 6-month mark that the book promised me. Had to move abroad in 6 months or less.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, you put it in your mind that that was possible and you actually accomplished it. And then as you do it, your confidence builds, right? I mean, now you probably have belief in a lot more than just moving abroad could be possible.
Yeah, the learning curve was like exponential. That's the only thing I said. Like, oh, you have to learn a lot. I was like, yeah, it went like this. And I learned that often what you're afraid of is rooted in something that you actually truly want for yourself. So I encourage everyone listening, look at that fear, the thing that you think you're super afraid of, and try to understand what it's really telling you that you do want. What are you afraid of? Ask yourself, learn about it, connect with it. But I promise you it's telling you that you do want something deep down in there where that's coming from. Because like I said, I have these little things in the back of my mind. Bilingual children, living by water, working remotely, having a business. And those were all my nevers. Like, I can't do that. Then here I am. So fulfilled.
Was there a fear that you identified all of those related to?
So I'm very risk averse. So I wouldn't, nor old me. I think I was just afraid of ruining something for everyone. Like, you know better, you shouldn't do that. I'm like that type of person. Like, you know better, you shouldn't have done that. It can end terribly. But I couldn't really pinpoint an area of how this could ruin anything. We're not going to go to Greece and regret it. We're not going to spend time together and hate it. We're not going to go and do this and come back learning nothing. So I think for once, the scale just tipped me out of the fear column and into this belief. It's such a big belief when you think about, like, why did I think this is going to be great? I don't know. But it was just a big belief that outweighed the fear piece of it. Because I had to get our passports for this. It's not like we had passports and we were just hanging around. I had to do all of that. A little baby step of going to the post office and filing for a passport to going to the Greek consulate in New York. New York also scares me. Big cities, I'm not a city person. But we navigated the subway, so you were saying the little wins, we felt victorious. We had a great day in New York and nothing bad happened. Little things that propelled us to let us know, like, we are meant to do this. This is going to work out. If we can do this, we can do anything. And every little thing builds on that. If we can do this, we can do the next step. We're really going to be there. Yeah. And I was so contagious, my husband just gave in. And everything was like, well, it's going to be fine. I'm like, thank you. Like, thanks for finally showing up. Welcome to my mindset. So glad you're here. Yeah, you had to stop fighting it.
Yes, fighting it when, and I do think I love that you brought that up because that was my journey. I had a lot of fears from trauma and some things that happened and beliefs that resulted out of those experiences that were keeping me stuck. And I didn't want to go there. They were really
Mm-hmm.
painful, they were really hard things. And so I wanted to avoid them at all costs. The problem was my avoidance was then getting me more of what I didn't want
Mm-hmm.
because that's what I was focusing on. My coping mechanisms were unhealthy. The way I interacted in relationships weren't healthy. So then I was getting more toxic relationships, more trauma. And
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't until I surrendered and broke down to the point of, I cannot do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And my fear of looking at it became less than my fear of staying where I was. I don't even know if you realize, but one of the dialectical behavior skills is called checking the facts.
Mm-hmm.
And you shared, I was afraid I was going to make a mistake that ruined it for everyone. But then when I started really looking at it and checking the facts on that, are we going to hate going to Greece? Are we going to not enjoy time together with the family? You were checking your facts on that and you realized, no, I don't have to actually think that way. And that was the mechanism at which that changed your mindset and your belief that you weren't going to make a mistake that ruined it for everyone.
Going on an adventure. So I put it to my kids. We're just going on an adventure. Yeah, and I think a fear point for me would be community. In the life that we're living, we had a safe neighborhood, but things like school shootings and not trusting your neighbors and kids disappearing are all very, very real. So I think it was me craving a sense of community and craving that support where you can walk and know everyone, but also fearing the reality of what that looked like in the life we were living. So it's like I want to trust my kids to walk outside and spend time alone and just be children. But even in your own yard, it's like your kids go out and play. Maybe, hopefully. And then coming here, I think the community has been the absolute best part. So what you're afraid of is actually what I wanted most of all for my kids to experience, for me to experience, knowing my neighbor, walking around safely, letting my kids play. It's been truly refreshing to feel safe, probably for the first time in a while. I think since you have the innocence of childhood looming over you. Yeah, it's been a long time. Mm-hmm.
I love how your story just so clearly demonstrates and how you were able to articulate this desire that you had, but there was this fear that was your kids weren't experiencing it. And this journey has allowed you to experience what you were desiring. And that is that inner guidance, that inner wisdom that says, you deserve this. You can have this. And thank you so much for sharing how you navigated this and how you're working with others. I will link in the show notes, you guys, to Angela's website and her Facebook page and Instagram so that you can connect with her. Let's hold her accountable, and we want to hear stories. You got to share so we can all be inspired. This has definitely been such a wonderful conversation for even where I'm at in my own journey to say, you know what, there's more that you want. And why don't you start planning for that? But it's been a pleasure. Is there anything that you want to share before we close out?
The only thing that really comes to mind is, trying is succeeding. And the more you try, the more you learn about yourself. And that's how you get to where you want to go. So let fear guide you in a sense, because you can do it too.
Let fear guide you, you guys. How powerful is that? Angela's journey has not just been about relocating to a beautiful place to live in Greece, but it's been about an entire journey of transforming what she thought was possible. And now what she's doing and seeing for her kids is really her heart's desires. And I just love that. She is proof that you can pursue your passion, prioritize your well being, and still make a meaningful impact and provide for your family. So, if you've ever questioned whether your dream life is possible, let this be your wake up call that you can have it too. Thanks so much for being here with us. It's been a pleasure. And listeners, stay tuned for more episodes every Friday. Like and follow the show so you don't miss another inspiring story of how someone embraces their hard and makes their dreams a reality.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
You're welcome. Take care, everyone.